Hey, what's up? So I kind of found a way to not run out of memory or execution time in n8n because I made a system that used to take a really long time to process. It was so long that n8n was just shutting down my workflow and saying, well, your workflow is taking too long, you just hit the time limit, so stop running it. And then what I did was split the workflow into multiple executions, and then n8n came back and said, you are using our memory. We are not going to keep running your data because we are running out of memory. So I just thought, well, how can I not run out of memory and how can I not explode the execution time run? So I built this workflow, which is actually 3 workflows. You can make this in 2 if you want, or maybe 1, but I don't really like doing that. I like splitting that just for organization. But anyways, I'm going to just show you exactly how everything works. This is just, it's more of a theoretical video. I'm not going to show you the system working. I'm going to explain you how it works so you can do this through your own systems, because the function of the system is not really relevant. What matters is how to avoid n8n limits. So this, as you can see, is my trigger. I sent a message over here. It's actually a link, and this link goes to an API from API to start a scraper. Then we just wait, we get the data, we put the data into, this is just to extract information in order to create a Google Sheet. So this code is going to extract the name of the channel that I'm scraping just to put inside of this sheet and create a new sheet. Then as you can see, this is how I started the thing. For example, I had the entire workflow in this thing over here, and the problem with this was running constantly in non-stop. I had this vector database, and the process of loading the vector database was making me run out of execution time. So what I've done was getting the database and moving it to another workflow. But then it comes the issue. The problem was that this thing was taking too long to run. So what I've done is split the data into multiple batches, but the thing that arises was we cannot run the same workflow many times or we're going to run out of memory, as I mentioned. So I had to put a time delay, so it only going to start after the other one finish. And I accomplished to do all of that using the execute workflow node, making a workflow loop. So as I mentioned, this is the trigger. This is going to start the entire workflow. This is the second part of the workflow where we are going to receive the data from here. It's going to come here. It's going to start another scrape so I can get my data. And after we start the second scraper, this is the second scraper by the way, we are going to use Google Sheets. You don't actually have to use Google Sheets. This is only for organization purposes and know where I left off. So in summary, what does it do? This is going to get links, URLs for me, and this code, as you can see, it's only going to allow 15 to go through. And this Google Sheet is where those 15 are going to be stored. So let's say that this one gets this, it comes over here, this one is going to filter, so only 11 results are going to come through, only 15 results are going to come through. It goes over here and it goes to my Google Sheet. So those 15 results are going to be saved inside of a Google Sheet, and the workflow is just going to continue, get all my data and initiate this over here. So this scraper is only going to get 15 items to be scraped instead of getting the 500 ones that I originally intended. And after it finishes, it's going to start this workflow, which is nothing more than my vector store. So it's going to trigger this, but the important thing is I am going to send the name of this sheet and also the dataset ID, this one over here, because we are going to trigger this workflow again. So this data is going to come here, it's going to be loaded in Pinecone, and after it finishes, it's going to come here, it's going to send a message to me to say, okay, we're finished. And after that, this is not important, by the way, this is just to send a message to my Telegram. You can just delete all of this if you want. And when we reach this point, we're only going to reach this execute workflow when we actually finish loading everything. So this workflow will finish and this workflow is going to start all over again. And now that we loaded 15 of the data that I mentioned, you see that we have the Google Sheet. This is the same sheet as this one, but this one is inputting data and this one is getting data from it. So we are going to come here and download the data from my scraper again. But there's the problem. If we just do that over and over again, we're going to get the same data all the time. That's why I made this Google Sheet. What this Google Sheet is going to do is get those 15 items that were loaded there, and then this one's going to get the 500 items, and I have this merge node that is set to combine. But there's a twist. It is set to combine, it's set to match fields, and this one As you can see, we have the field that I want to match. By the way, the name of this thing and the name of this thing here, the fields. So this one I have a column called URLs, and the output of this data is also URLs. So this is going to compare all data that is named URL, and it's only keep non-matches. So all the data that exists inside my sheet is not going through this node, which means that data that I already processed is not going to be processed again. So this is just a way to filter data that has not been processed. So now we go here, same thing, we filter 15, it goes over, start this one starts here, and we just make a loop, you know? So this is just looping over and over again. And when it actually finishes, this one will bring like 500 results. This one's also going to bring 500 results, and this is one's going to compare and say, oh, 500 results are here, 500 results here. So I'm not going to allow any results to go because all the results already exist in the Google Sheet, and this will shut down my workflow. And this is how I actually managed to break down n8n limits, because all the executions are only running for a few minutes because I'm only processing 15 items at once, and because I'm switching workflows, I'm turning one off and turning another one on. So, you know, it's just a loop, and that's it. I do not run out of memory and I do not run out of time. So yeah, this is my tip. This is how I fix the problem. So I hope this can help you figuring out how you can do the same thing as I done. And thanks for watching the video. Maybe I'll see you in the next one. And so bye bye.